Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahawashi, Bahasham, Barakahak Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure unto the end. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson, and I'll be profiling an article from irishstar.com titled, Putin Sends World War III Message to Donald Trump Amid Inauguration. Russian President Vladimir Putin made a World War III plea to Donald Trump as he congratulated him on his election victory just hours before inauguration. And of course, by now, Donald Trump has been selected to be the 47th president of the United States of America. And it looks like he's coming in with a wave of change, and not for the better. He could very well be that cruel Lord in Isaiah chapter 19 and Abaratazah. Hey, he's that president that's going to usher in the MARKOFTHEBEAST in Revelation 13, verses 16 to 18, which is the RFID/NFC micro C-hip implant. Look who he has in his administration, Elon Musk, who's dealing with the Neuralink, which plays into that mark in the forehead. And, if he is the one to usher that in, hey, he's also going to be the sitting president for World War III, which is a biblical part of prophecy. And Russia is going to play a major role in it, just like the United States of America. So, Vladimir Putin's plea to Donald Trump to, avert World War III is going to ultimately fall on deaf ears, because it's not for biblical prophecy for those things not to take place. This is Revelation chapter 9, verse 12. One woe or destruction is past, referring to World War I, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter, World War II, which is past, and World War III, which is quickly coming upon us. And for all intents and purposes, you can say we're in the beginning stages of it. And like I just said, Russia is going to play a major part in World War III. This is Revelation chapter 13. I'm going to start at verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And this is talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man's rulership. You had the ancient pagan Edomite Roman Empire, and we're in the reincarnated, Roman Empire right now. That deadly wound that was healed when you read further down. Those iron toes mixed with miry clay in Daniel chapter 2. The NATO EU system, which the U.S. is a part of and at the head of. And those 7 heads goes into, the different periods of Esau's rulership, which is, the Greeks, the Romans, Germania Major, Germania Minor. You had the British, the French, and the Spanish. And then the 10 horns. Back then, you had those vassal states, those tribes to the ancient pagan Roman Empire. And then today, the 10 horns go into, the EU, or the European Union, and they're upon the beast, which you read about in Revelation 17, which is speaking of NATO. Verse 2, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, going into Alexander the Great, who kicked off Esau really coming into power and making a name for himself. The thighs and belly of brass in Daniel chapter 2. And Alexander was known for having a leopard pelt on his horse. And here's the main point. And his feet were as the feet of a bear. And when you think of Russia, what's one of the symbols you think of Russia as? A bear. And it's, highly symbolic that it's the feet, because the feet are the end of something, and Russia is going to be, the end or a part of the end of, Esau's Western, power, especially the United States of America, because they're going to shoot nuclear missiles onto the United States of America during World War III. But just because Russia is going to play a major hand in taking down the U.S. doesn't mean they have next. Because, Yahushua is going to come in the midst of World War III to save the elect of the nation of Israel consisting of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners who look like these heathens, and to destroy and take away the power of you heathens, including you Russian Edomites. When you read about it in Ezekiel chapter 38, the Lord's pretty much saying, he set up Gog or Russia, but at the same time, he hates Gog in Russia. You're just a tool to fulfill prophecy. But again, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, Russia. And also, to clarify, Russia isn't a part of that beast with the 7 heads and 10 horns. And his mouth as the mouth of a lion, speaking of the British, which America came out of, as it says in, I think it says it in this chapter 2, the 8th, which is of the 7. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So again, the feet were as a bear, because Russia is going to be a major factor in taking down the United States of America during World War III. This is Habakkuk chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 1. And the header reads, God answers the prophet, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the prophets of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, chiefly of GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers that come in the spirit of GMS, which, if your spiritual eyes and ears are open, you can clearly see that Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai's tabernacle is language GMS are standing upon their watch, watching the news, reading the scriptures, and filtering the news through the scriptures to be those watchmen out on the highways and byways proclaiming this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this online. Verse 2, and Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables. Again, going out onto the highways and byways preaching, as well as putting up these video epistles, that he may run that readeth it. When the elect hear these words, it stirs up their spirit to get right with their power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, so they can be saved from these coming calamities of Jacob's trouble, ultimately those nuclear missiles during the third woe. Here's the main point. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And for the longest time, you've had people say, I've always heard about World War III and the end of the world. Our grandparents were talking about that and nothing's happened. Or, that's not going to be in my lifetime. That's going to be in my grandkids' lifetimes. But with the way things are looking, these prophecies, these final prophecies are no longer tarrying, but quickly coming to pass. And Abaratazah, Trump is that cruel Lord that's going to usher in all these things. Vladimir Putin has made a televised appeal to Donald Trump, urging him not to trigger World War III, while also offering congratulations on his win just before Trump's inaugural address as the 47th president of the United States. We hear Trump's statements on the need to prevent World War III. We undoubtedly welcome such a disposition and congratulate the elected U.S. president, Putin declared during a session of Russia's Security Council. He stressed the chance to mend ties with the U.S., noting Trump and his team's talks about rekindling direct communication despite Moscow's ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Putin remarked that he has listened to Trump and his team's statements on their wish to restore direct contacts with Russia, which the ongoing Biden administration has cut off through no fault of our own. He insisted that Russia never turned down this dialogue and emphasized that U.S.-Russia relations should be founded on equality and mutual respect. But hey, that's not in the cards according to biblical prophecy. It's going to be mutual hate and mutual destruction, so to speak. But let's get back to these precepts. This is Jeremiah chapter 50. I'm going to start at verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon, Babylon the Great, the virgin daughter of Babylon, Mystery Babylon in Revelation 17, the United States of America, an assembly of great nations from the north country. And that's speaking of Russia, because Russia is north of, the United States of America. And what have we been seeing over the last couple of years? Russia building up its nuclear and military assets in the Arctic Ocean region, also north of the U.S. And then you had Trump recently talking about buying Greenland for strategic purposes, which is also in that northern region. Hey, these military experts know that Russia shooting missiles across the north to reach the U.S. would be the shortest trajectory time for those missiles to reach the U.S., so everybody's preparing accordingly. And that assembly of great nations unto the north country are not just Russia's allies like China, Iran, or North Korea, but even America's own European allies, NATO, that at some point during World War III are going to turn against the U.S. and ally themselves with Russia to shoot 200 million nuclear missiles onto Babylon. And they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. And their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. And those arrows are symbolic for those nuclear missiles, because when the prophets saw these visions thousands of years ago, they just had bows and arrows. And, when you see a missile flying, it looks like an arrow. So they described it as such. Now I'm going to jump down to verses 41. Behold, a people shall come from the north, Russia, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth, from the ends of the earth, that assembly of great nations under Russia. They shall hold the bow and the lance. Again, speaking of those nuclear missiles, as well as the silos and launch platforms. They are cruel and will not shew mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, everyone put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. And when you read Psalms 137, start around verse 7 and read to verse 9, you'll see that the Edomites are synonymous with being the daughter of Babylon. Now I'm going to jump up to verse 40. As the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith Yahweh, and Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed by fire and brimstone from the sky. And this modern day Sodom and Gomorrah is going to be destroyed by that modern fire and brimstone, those nuclear missiles. And also America is known as spiritual Sodom, as pursuant to Revelation 11 verse 8. So shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. When those nukes hit this place, it's going to be turned into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards, where man, woman, or child will never set foot on ever again. And after a time, only desert creatures are going to be able to dwell here, as it says in verse 39. Therefore, the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there, and the owls shall dwell therein, and it shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, point blank period. So regardless of Trump or Putin calling for avoiding World War III, that's not a part of biblical prophecy. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. As we can clearly see, we are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.